Let's be very clear on one thing. Be super clear. There's only one UW in the Big Ten. There's only one UW.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy's birthday cake flavor is here. Vanilla cake flavor, caffeinated cake with no sugar. Order yours now at 5hourenergy.com or over on Amazon. The Wisconsin Badgers plaster the Huskies. And I think if we just pause here for a second, I think Carrington just hit another three. Like, that dude is unbelievable. Rajeev, you've been all over Carrington since the beginning. A bunch to get into today. Big picture, the Badgers bounce back again, which is what they always seem to do after a clunker of a game. It is who they are. They bury the Huskies in a deluge of threes. Rajeev, this one was good. And it felt like this one was in the bank from like the halfway part of the first half. And everything up past that point was just kind of cruise control.
Yeah, man, I honestly felt like this was very similar to the Penn State game that we had earlier in the season, where we were a road game that we just were playing a team we should dominate, and we did dominate them. This is a quad one victory, so kudos to the Badgers for getting their sixth or seventh quad one victory of the year. That's great. And yeah, I mean, we had it. Honestly, I thought we had this game after we lost to Oregon because we knew this was going to happen. You and I talked about it. Like, it's just, this is what we do. We bounce back. I don't know where the energy was against Oregon, but Washington, we can't seem to beat Oregon in anything, and we can't seem to lose to Washington. So that's good. That's a fine problem to have. Dominating today, unbelievable performances, which we'll get into, but kind of there's some really good stuff in here. There's some bad stuff to talk about too, but hey, we'll always take a road win in the Big Ten. We got one more game we have to win, and then we got a free hit against Purdue, and it's shaping up to be quite the good Big Ten season. I mean, 12-6 is a fantastic record. We have to celebrate that. We did not really think that was going to happen after the early part of the season. Mm-hmm. So yeah, good all-around game and lots of good things to get into.
Yeah, I think we start with Carrington, though, right? I mean, Carrington, 9 threes. What did he finish with? 32. You know, the other thing with Carrington, though, Carrington gave you 4 boards and 3 assists. Mm-hmm. You're bearing the lead on BC if you don't talk about the threes and his ability to just stretch the defense. But he's more than just a spot-up shooter. This is such a steal, and Greg Gard is making a habit of just stealing players in the portal. This is a guy who, when he came in, we said spot-up shooter, and we undersold that ability. We didn't think it'd be this, but we said, okay, he can hit shots. The dude is also giving you multiple rebounds. He's playing on-ball defense. He's setting people up. Like, he's Rajeev. Like, this guy's become, I think you have to have him in your closing lineups. I think he's one of your 5 best players at this point. Incredible pickup by Greg Gard.
100%. Liked him from day one. I feel like he brings a lot to the game. He has poise about his game. Like, I did not think he was going to take as many threes as he has. He took 15 threes today. It's unbelievable. But yeah, man, the guy's just a player. Like, he's a baller. And I love his shot too. His shot is so clean and so crisp. Like, he's so consistent with the way he shoots. And yeah, sometimes he takes some heat checks, but he made some of those heat checks today. But yeah, he does everything. He's usually a good rebounder as well. I mean, he only had 4 rebounds today. But he had a steal as well, 3 assists. Like, he's an all-around good player. He's kind of taking the spot as, one of the second best guard on this team. I hate to say that, but that's kind of what's happening right now. And he's been fantastic. Like, his confidence shooting the ball, his ability to, when we're in slumps, he can get us out of slumps because he can shoot, but he can also put the ball on the deck and do something different. Like, I'm just very happy with this pickup. That's 2 really good transfers with Boyd and Carrington this year that have done fantastic work. Yeah, I mean, both of those guys, by the way, combined for 54 points today between Boyd and Carrington. So I don't know where we'd be without these guys this season. But yeah, he's incredible, man. Like, he's just been doing so well. And by the way, he's on a steady increase for the whole season. You saw him from beginning. He couldn't even get in the lineup. Then he was getting a little more. He was playing with poise. He was doing well. He was rebounding the ball. Now he started to shoot the ball well. Now he's a spot-up shooter. He's our best shooter. Like, all these things have just increased. Every game, he's been getting better. He's been becoming more of a reliable player. And as you said, he's in our best 5. He needs to be out there more often. Like, the guy he's everything that we had hoped he'd be, and way, way more.
Mm-hmm. Shining Eagle had a comment earlier that I thought was really good, and it was Carrington is a great fit for this team. Mm-hmm. Part of what Greg Gard has done is he's created a structure where certain players are just going to flourish here, because this has not been any part of BraEden Carrington's career arc up to this point. He's been a good shooter, but there were places at Tulsa and Minnesota where he was nowhere near this. So it's the combination of BraEden Carrington, but also the fit within this system that just creates this ultimate storm of his best version of himself. And we've seen that with Nick Boyd. We saw that with Storr. We saw that with Tonje. Greg Gard has created a system here where he's able to go snipe players that are undervalued in other spots, recognize the talent and the skill set that they have, which is a skill into itself, by the way, finding those traits. And then he plugs them in, and this has become a bit of a machine, because BraEden Carrington's not doing this if he portals to Illinois or the Huskies or wherever else. Like, this is also Greg Gard unlocking the best version of him. And I don't want to lose sight of that either. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you and I have given Greg Gard a lot of credit for his transfer prowess, and he's done it again. I mean, obviously we saw it this year with Boyd. I mean, the last 3 years, who are our three best players on each team? AJ Storr, John Tonje, Nick Boyd. Now you add in BC. And yeah, I mean, it's exactly the kind of thing. And you're absolutely right. Like, he fits so well. Obviously, we're a team that shoots the three heavily. So that's exactly what we need to do. And yeah, I mean, I just couldn't be happier. And I'm happy for him. Like, this is the kind of confidence building guy. Like, going into March, we need a guy who's like, I'm not afraid to shoot. Give me the ball. I'll take it. I'll make it. And he does. More often than not, he's making these threes. I don't know what his season-long percentage is. I'm sure someone can look that up quickly, but I don't have it in front of me. But I mean, that's the kind of thing that we're going to need in March, because we are going to have scoring droughts in March. We will do that. We will have foul trouble in March. All these things come up as the season progresses, and you need a guy like Boyd who can just take the sort of like the onus on them, shoot when you need to, get us out of slumps when you need to. And he's exactly the kind of guy that's out there. When he's on the court, I feel more comfortable offensively and defensively. He's a really hard-working defender too.
Yeah, I think it's really well said. On the season, he is up to 41% from three.
I mean, let's go.
No, sorry, 40%. 41% from the field, 40% from three.
That's great.
That's an elite number. I mean, it's an elite number, and it's an elite number because he also takes quite a few. People got to understand, like, you can shoot 40% but take one shot a game, 1 3 a game, 2 3s a game. That was kind of Steven Crowell to some degree. As much as we love Steven Crowell, his percentage was a little elevated because he didn't take a lot of them. Carrington takes volume threes and he's shooting 40%. That's an elite number. Again, that is just efficient basketball, and it fits his offense to a T. Let's keep going from there. So BraEden Carrington, I also want to shout out Nick Boyd, who I thought in the first half was tremendous. He got us off to a great start. And you just love the pace of play that he continually is pushing the offense towards. He makes it really difficult and uncomfortable for the defense on the Huskies side. He was great today, man. And he had a couple really nice plays where I thought in previous games he might have settled, but he got in the paint, played off 2 feet, hit a nice little little floater a couple times, hit a couple layups. When he's getting in the paint like that, he is tremendously difficult to deal with. Just another great game from Nick Boyd, man.
Yeah, and the comment that was just up there, Mike, talking about BC, you never have to question his attitude and effort. The same thing applies to Nick Boyd. Attitude and effort, you never have to question for either of these guys, which is why they've become two of my favorite players on this team because of that. Yeah, you said it with the 2 feet play. Like, him popping in the lane is so nice to see, okay? Like, we don't need to see him go to that layup every single time because the defense knows that. Now, if he's got the step and he can get to his left hand, fine, do it. He doesn't miss those. But that stop and pop, you get the defense off balance. Now you're on 2 feet. You can do whatever you want. He can make that left-handed short jumper all day in the paint. That's what we need to go to. And frankly, that's what John Blackwell used to do, which was drive in the lane and stop and pop. He doesn't do that anymore, which we'll get into. But yeah, Nick Boyd, unbelievable. Early on in the game, he was our only offense, and he again, very, very aggressive, going to the hoop, finding players. How many assists did he have today? 5 assists, which is great. 9 rebounds, by the way, for Nick Boyd too. Very aggressive, very athletic, jumping into the lane. I mean, that's the kind of rebounding you need. I mean, Nolan Winter only had 9 rebounds tonight. I felt like he had like 20, but he had them all in the first half. But both of those guys getting 9 rebounds, that's exactly what we need. So yeah, Boyd, fantastic performance again. I mean, he just continues to be that engine, that motivator, the energy, the attitude, everything. If everyone played like with the passion that Nick Boyd plays with, I don't know who'd beat us. I mean, that's the kind of effort that we need, and it's great to watch, man.
Yeah, it's well said. I'll tell you, when I used to coach, we had one of the high school teams I coached on. We had an effort board. We called it the effort board, and every player had their name. And you only got up this effort board with rebounds, deflections, steals. Like 9 rebounds from a guard is all effort. That's 100% effort. You don't luck your way into 9 rebounds as a 6'3" guard. That is attacking the offensive glass. That's tracking down those long ones. That's where, by the way, where athleticism plays up. Those long rebounds get gobbled up by athletic guards and athletic forwards. Nick Boyd just played his heart out, man, and he's done that pretty consistently over the course of the season. We got to take a quick second here. We're going to come back. We are going to talk about rest of the team, a few things that maybe we didn't love. Big picture, as the Badgers' season starts to wind down, the importance of this game and what's coming up next. I mean, March is here. It is almost here. So let's talk about all that. But first, a quick second for our friends of the show, quick second to say thank you for tuning in to Locked On Badgers. Today's episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. And I kind of feel like, Rajeev, maybe BraEden Carrington had one of these before the game today. Maybe he used that, that 5 Hour Energy boost today. And there are a ton of tasty flavors. If you want to get in on the 5 Hour Energy draft, I said it before, I love cherry. I'm a classic guy. I'm simple. I like the red. I like the flavor. I like the bold profile. Rajeev, what's yours?
Grape, man. Listen, grape 5 Hour Energy is awesome. I like 5 Hour Energies, but grape's the only one I like.
Yeah, grape's good too. I like the classic flavors, but if you want to take a swing on a sweeter one, maybe there is confetti craze, there's birthday cake, there's a couple other ones if you want to take a swing on those. Again, I'm a cherry person. I love the energy without the sugar. It's just simple. It's convenient. You can take this on the go. Head over to 5 Hour Energy for a 5 Hour Energy flavor shot, available at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at Game Time, a service I have absolutely used in my life. I can tell you it is great. And if you want to get to March, where there's the environment, the crowds, the buzzer beaters, all of these great things about basketball, the last thing you want to deal with is getting tickets. Don't stress that part. Let Game Time take that off your plate so you can focus on the people you want to go with. You can focus on the best lines, whatever it is. Let Game Time take the tickets. Game Time take that stress off your plate. It's incredibly simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means 100% legitimate tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. The fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. Take the guess we're going to buy college basketball tickets with Game Time. Head over to Game Time, get the app, create an account, use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create the account, redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Let's come back into this. I also want to encourage anybody. We do have a everyday program. It has ad-free episodes of Locked On Badgers. So if you're already kind of watching every day and you want the ad-free version of these, it's there. Plus, there's a bigger Locked On Discord that has all the different Locked On hosts in there, which can be a lot of fun. Rajeev, let me kick it over to you. We hit on, I think, Michael doesn't like the hat. I love this hat. We kick it over to you. We talked Boyd. We talked, obviously, BraEden Carrington. What's the next thing you want to hit on with this game? Because I have an interesting take, and I'm not sure if people are going to agree with it or not.
Yeah, I just want to quickly touch on Winter. I think Winter had a very good game overall, 13 points, 1 rebound shy of another double-double. I liked how he was getting a little more aggressive in the paint. When he can actually move off the ball and get to the basket and get a quick pass, like, we need to roll more often. And every time we do seem to have a true pick and roll, like a really good screen and a really hard roll, we kind of always get that open. I just wish we did it more often. I wanted to touch the ball more, but I like the way he shot the ball. He shot the ball 3 of 5 from 3 today, which is good. 50% from the field, solid game. Just wanted to do more. But overall, especially in the first half, I thought his rebounding was fantastic in the first half. Like, coming into the game, one of the clear focuses was being able to rebound, because Steinbach obviously is one of the best rebounders in the conference. I think he averages 12 rebounds a game. So that was a focus, and it showed. Man, like, with the first half, we did out rebound them 39-35 in the game, but we rebounded them by, I think, like 7 or 8 in the first half. That was really important to kind of keep that point total low. The other thing I would just quick touch on, first half defense, I thought was really good. They had 21 points. Now that they'd shot the ball poorly, but I thought we really defended the ball really well, like on ball defending, inside the paint defending. Overall, yeah, second half got a little squirrely. They put up a lot of points in the second half, but so did we, to be fair. But yeah, overall, I think that Winter had a good game, and I really liked his first half defense, especially.
Yeah, I'm going to hit on both those. I think those are both really good points that you bring up. The first one is rebounding. I'm going to extend that to the whole team. I thought there were great box outs from Rhodey. Blackwell, I thought, had some really nice blockouts in the first half. We talked about Boyd and his 9 boards. I thought Winter was battling like he always does. We talked about the care factor of Nick Boyd. Winter's another guy. Whether he gets 3 points, 9 points, 15 points, you never finish a game saying, man, did Nolan Winter play hard? No, that dude brings it every single game. So I thought those, just on the glass, I thought collectively this whole team had a really good game, especially in that first half. It felt like Washington couldn't get an offensive rebound. And a lot of that was the players doing what they were supposed to do. Clearly, that was also a focus of the game plan. The team executed it. Credit to the staff and to the players for that. Defensively, I thought they were very connected. There were a couple plays where I think we let, again, straight line drives. That's a bugaboo of this team at times. But when Washington was trying to move the ball around, I thought the players were moving. They were rotating. There was help defense. Sometimes there was overhelp, which, again, this team struggles with. But I'll take that because that means you're working hard. You have effort. I thought defensively and on the glass, great points for Rajeev. I think the team was connected and working hard. There's the other thing I wanted to hit on. After the Oregon game, one of the things that came out a lot, I saw a lot of frustration with, and we talked about it, was the team took 45 threes. That's off the top of my head. And everybody hated it, right? Hit the post. They took 38 today. My point in this is a 3-point offense. And when they hit shots, it's going to look good. When they don't hit shots, it's going to look poorly. Volume shots are going to happen with this team. And I think at times we get a little too reactionary. After a loss, hit the paint. After a win, great shooting. This is just who the team is. And people are going to have to live with the volume shooting is kind of my bigger takeaway here. Because we almost shot as many as we did against Oregon, and everybody loves it today.
Yeah, I agree for the most part. I think it's a good point that, volume shooting is going to happen with this team. I think the reason, ultimately the reason that we were so pissed off about the Oregon game, it's not, I think the number you point to is they took 45 threes and they missed a lot of them. But the real issue was overall effort was not there. Energy was not there. They weren't locked in. If all those things were happening like they were tonight, then we wouldn't be complaining about it. And we wouldn't be complaining about 45 threes if we not played like crap against Oregon. So I agree with you. Where I want it is when you have that much of a weapon from three, in which we obviously are a team that has that weapon. When you do touch the post, you can do a lot more with it. For example, obviously we did today with Winter and Garlock. They did not make the shots, but it was a good one-on-one, back to the basket, which I appreciate. I want to do more of that. If you're going to have that because the defense is extending to stop the three. Also, Blackwell had a nice drive and dish to Winter, wide open threes. Mm-hmm. I'm fine taking the threes as long as we get good shots. And we're going to get better shots the more we penetrate into the lane. Whether that's Nick Boyd or John Bell penetrating and passing, that's fine. Whether that's hitting the post and kicking out, that's fine. What I just don't want is moving the ball on the outside, taking a contested three. That, I think, is what frustrates Badger fans. It frustrates me. I'm fine with the threes as long as they go about getting those threes by doing something unique and different and interesting and moving the ball inside and out. I think you made a really good point about how connected they were defensively. And if they can translate that offensively, like they did a little bit tonight, like they moved the ball in, they kicked the ball out quickly. That's the kind of three I will take all day. I don't care if they take 70 of them, if they're getting good shots and forcing the ball into the paint to kick it back out. That's fine. Because we're not going to score that well down low, but I just don't want to see the whole 5-out, pass it around, go around a screen and pop. That's the thing that annoys me because you can get better looking shots.
Yeah, I agree there. To me, it's not hitting the post; it's touching the paint. And there's
right. Fair. Yeah, good. Well said.
So I think you got to touch the paint, which is, to your point, that's off drives, it's off offensive rebounds. Some of the best 3-pointers you'll ever get are off offensive rebound kickouts. It's a lot of ways to touch the paint. This team just doesn't have a guy that is going to sit on the low block and demand the shot, create a great angle. Honestly, I don't think we're great interior passers into the post either. We struggle to make that pass as well. But to your point, then drive, then set up something with a pick and pop and a roll. You got to get into the paint. And then to your point, 100%, that sets up easier shots. I love that. I just want to point out, again, the bigger picture is, volume of shots is going to happen with this team. And it's more about, to your point, the quality of shots and how you create those rather than the total number. I think people see the total number and say, that's horrific. You can't shoot 40+ threes. Well, you can if you're getting decent looks. Mm-hmm. And Greg Gard's going to want that. They're going to live with that 100% of the time.
If you shoot 40% then you make 10, 11 threes, no one's complaining. That's plenty of points.
Yeah. Let's hit on Blackwell a little bit. So before we hit this next break, a lot of comments on Blackwell. I just think he's in a bit of a funk. So I just think he's in a little bit of a funk. And one of the things when Blackwell is going really well, he's getting in the paint and he's taking shots off 2 feet. He's drawing contact. He's using that little post fadeaway. That's a really good shot for him. He has that in his bag. And we saw multiple times today. And you and I were texting about it. And other Badger fans texted me where it felt like he got in the paint and then he kicked it back out. He got in the paint and then he hesitated. There was a play and it ended up in a Bieliauskas 3, by the way. but he had an open driving lane and he kicked it. And I'm like, just take the layup. And it feels like he's in a funk. Maybe he's overthinking it. This was another game. Blackwell had 7. He's better than that, Rajeev. And it was another kind of frustrating game for me to watch him.
100%. I'm very frustrated. And here's the number that frustrates me the most with how he played today. 34 minutes. I don't think you need to give him 34 minutes because what is he providing out there right now? Look, and listen, Blackwell is a really important player on this team and someone we're going to need in March. But BraEden Carrington had 27 minutes tonight. And I'm not saying he needs 34, but I just think that, like, what is John Blackwell providing that BraEden Carrington isn't? The answer today is really nothing. And when he's driving and popping, but second half he did a little bit more of that. That's fine. That's how he scores his points. I don't need him to be a spot up shooter. We have spot up shooters on this team. We don't need him to do that. If he gets an open 3, shoot it. That's fine. But he's very hesitant on his drives. He sees one defender and he's like, okay, I got to stop and I got to look elsewhere. Like, no, you can keep going because you're either going to get fouled or you penetrate deeper into the lane, creating about another passing lane to kick out like he did for Winter's wide open 3 in the second half. That's the kind of Blackwell we need to see. I just don't want it to be a spot up shooter because we don't need Blackwell to be a spot up shooter. We need him to be an elite guard like he's supposed to be. He's considered one of the best guards in the Big Ten. He's not playing like it right now. It's frustrating. 2 really ugly first half turnovers. I just don't understand if it's a mental thing right now, if he's, I don't know what it is, but what I do know and what my opinion is as a fan is sit him down in situations like that. When he turns the ball over twice, put him on the bench and let someone else get out there. Let him let him watch the game from the sidelines. And maybe that can motivate him to get out there and play a little differently. When you leave him out there for 34 minutes and he's playing like he did today, it's hurting the team. It's not helping us. Now, BC bailed him out today, 32 points. So we're fine, but that's not going to win us games in March. It's not going to win us games against the upper echelon teams in the Big Ten and against better teams come the tournament time. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he can't play 34 minutes of this is the Blackwell we're going to get. He might be in a funk, but then you got to get him out of the game.
Not that I disagree with a lot of what you said there, but let me play devil's advocate for just a second. Okay. I think if you start taking him out, you run the risk of losing him. Like this team is, for lack of a better, it is. I think you got to be very careful, and I would trust Greg Gard to know that balance. I don't know that balance. I'm not sure if either of us would. Sure. We talked about this earlier, I believe, with Rap too. And I think we talked about this last year. I'm forgetting with who, but there are times you have to ride your horses because you're not going to go far in March without him. And potentially you could lose something if you start benching him. Maybe if he's in a funk, it drives it further. The other thing I would say is Blackwell, even when he's not playing great, he is taking one of their best perimeter defenders away from guys like BC. That is still a thing. Teams are putting their best perimeter defenders on Boyd and Blackwell. That gives you BC on a guy who doesn't want to play in the perimeter. That gives you matchups that work for you in different ways. If you take Blackwell off, suddenly you're bumping a guy like BC up a tier. As good as BC's been, BC is not going to play as well against a better perimeter defender. He struggles dribbling at times. We saw that on a drive attempt today. So I think the gravity of Blackwell is still real. And I think that if this team, you and I have both said this, and I'm not disagreeing with you today. I don't think Blackwell played well today. Had 3 first-half turnovers, a couple I thought inexcusable ones. But this team needs Blackwell to make a deep run, and I think Gard is almost saying, we're going to let you play through this.
Yeah, like I would push back and just say, like, I think that's fine. I agree with you. He needs to be out there, and that's fine. But right now, like, back in the Bo Ryan days, someone has 2 crazy turnovers in a row, they're on the bench because I don't think you can reward that kind of play by leaving him out there because it's going to allow him to stay in that funk. Bring him on the bench. So maybe today he only gets 19 minutes or 25 minutes or something because he's not playing well. That sends the message that, look, you're still going to be a starter. You're still going to be coming out after halftime. You're still going to get a lot of minutes, but we're also not going to let you out there and play out there if you're going to turn the ball over and make poor decisions with the ball. I think it's okay to send that message in particular games. Yes, I'm not saying you should pull him from the starting lineup. I don't think that because then it goes into what you're saying. But you also cannot just let someone stay out there when they're in that kind of a funk because it sends the wrong message to the team and it sends the wrong message to that player that, okay, you're doing fine. You can just stay out there. Bo Ryan would have never stood for that. And I need a little bit more from Greg Gard in this regard.
Super fair again. Let me push back one more time. And this is great. Disagreements are great. I don't think first of all, this is not Bo Ryan, right? This team that is playing right now, Bo Ryan would never have had because you can't have that extra that level of control over players, and then also expect them to play free and shoot threes. There's a bunch of times this year, if Bo Ryan was running this team, he would have taken Nick Boyd out, right? And now look how well Nick Boyd's playing. Maybe partially because Greg Gard has let him play through those things. Like this team, if you want to play fast and shoot threes, you have to be more accepting of a certain level of turnovers, bad shots, rush shots. You have to be, because that comes with the territory, and that's Blackwell independent. That's across the board. So that's the first thing I'd say. And the second thing I would say is, again, you want to maybe curtail a little bit of Blackwell minutes. Who do you go to? I mean, today Carrington played 27, Rhodey played 25. This is not a deep team. Those guys are already playing upper 20 minutes. Maybe you give 3 or 4 more minutes to Carrington, but at that point, you're still giving Blackwell 30, right?
I think you give Jones and Kinzinger some more time out there. That's what I would do. My thing is, like, at what point, though, do you have to, like, we've just talked about how BraEden Carrington is on the ascendancy. Nick Boyd has improved his game. Winter's improved. Like, Blackwell has regressed this season. So at what point do you have to say, okay, well, you're going to have to just be a guy that gets less minutes because you're not being productive? Like, at what point is enough, and we're just not going to let that keep going? Like that, there has to be a little bit of a line there. I do hear what you're saying, but I just feel like he was more of a hindrance out there a lot of times than he was helping us. And I hate to just dog on it because we won the game we dominated this team, but we didn't dominate because of him. And I feel like at some point a message has to be said. I hear what you're saying, but I think at some point, like when you looked at the start of the season to where Blackwell is now, we all know that there's a big chasm there. And I don't know how much longer this can continue.
No, I think it's a fair point too. I think in general, I'm going to try to trust the player that Blackwell has shown he's been over the course of his career, and trust that he's still going to be that guy over a relatively shorter sample size of games this year where he is. But a lot of those struggles have been more recently. To your point, I do think recently he has been struggling. He's been in a bit of a funk. Maybe he's a little dinged up. I don't know. I don't want to use excuses either, because I think there's times where the effort hasn't been great. But I guess I just lean on the side of the old baseball adage that players generally are the players they are on the back of their baseball card, right? I think Nick Boyd, with more minutes, I think Carrington maybe isn't as effective. And I worry that you lose some type of chemistry or culture, or there's some type of bigger issue if you start to throttle back on Blackwell.
It's fair.
But your point is also fair, right? Like he's got to be better. And I think we both agree there. All right, let's take a quick second. And let us know in the chat where you're at with all this. A bunch of comments. I wasn't able to look at all of them, but we got Mike behind the mic today, which is always great. We'll take one quick second for our friends of the show. Come back, get your comments next on Locked On Badgers. But first, a quick second for our friends of the show over at Coast. Coast is a great new platform that we partnered with. If you want to be able to save a little bit of money, if you manage a crew, construction, HVAC, landscaping, any operation with trucks on the road, there's a lot of those. And you know how messy gas materials can get. Cards get shared, receipts disappear. I would be the ultimate guilty person for receipts disappearing if I did this. I am not organized at times, and it turns into a headache. Coast Pay fixes all of that. Coast Pay is the modern fuel card expense management tool built specifically for fleets. Fuel, maintenance, materials, all in one card, real control, instant visibility, fraud protection with employee check-ins. There's no shared pins, automatic receipt capture, real-time alerts. So you know who's spending and who's spending where and what. You have all of that automatically. Head over to CoastPay, offering our listeners up to $2,000 credit when you get started at coastpay.com/lockedoncollege. Go to coastpay.com/lockedoncollege. See how you can earn up to $2,000 credit. Terms to apply. The Coast Visa commercial card is issued by Celtic Bank. All card accounts are subject to credit approval. All right, Rajeev, let's get some comments from the community as always. And as always, I really appreciate everybody tuning into these shows, building this community, being here with us. This is as much fun for us as it hopefully is for you guys. And we love being kind of part of this community and building it. Let's get some comments, Rajeev. We'll give you the first one here. Yeah, I mean, this one ties into your comment, Patrick Niesis. Why the hell isn't Carrington playing 30-plus minutes a game? So
yeah,
to it. Do you see a downside to ramping up his minutes too much?
I do. I think you made a really good point earlier about how when he's out there, obviously he's going to get more of the defense, and Blackwell helps keep one of those better perimeter defenders off him. And I think he could probably get too trigger happy at times. I agree with that. I'm fine with him coming off the bench. I'm fine with him, but he needs to be in the final 5 for sure. He needs to be out there in critical minutes. But I just think like the feel of the game just has to be like today. Obviously, today's day he should have played more than 30 minutes because he was dominating out there. but there are times where he's not, and that's okay. But he brings so much, which is what I like about him. Defensively, he is a better on-ball defender than a lot of the players we have on this team. He's a better rebounder than a lot of the players we have on this team, and he's the best shooter we have on this team. So when you look at all those three things, you're like, the more minutes you get for him, I think the better we play. So I am in favor of giving him more minutes overall, for sure.
I think it's well said. Caroline says, who is the better portal pickup, Boyd or BC? Yes, is the answer to that. Unbelievable game for him. I think it's interesting, right? Because players are brought in. It's almost like who's the better player, the first round pick that hits or the fifth round pick that hits. And I don't want to call BC a fifth round pick, but just in terms of relative expectations coming in terms of NIL resources that you would pay to get each player, you could argue that BC has outperformed his expectations by a bigger delta than Boyd has. Boyd was brought in to be a starting point guard. He's been tremendous. But, dude, nobody had Carrington hitting 9 threes and scoring 30-plus points on a road Big Ten game on their bingo card. BraEden Carrington's mom didn't have that on her bingo card, for gosh sake. So I think, yeah, the answer is yes. Both have been absolutely tremendous. But I think you would argue that nobody's exceeded expectations more than BC, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. But I also feel like without Nick Boyd, this is probably a 8-win Big Ten team or less. Like, he is our MVP, and it's not close. Like, as far as like lately, especially lately, like before, I would have said he was almost winter. But man, Boyd has got us out of so many jams.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. Like, if you're asking me which player I'm picking, it's Nick Boyd. Yeah. It just like he has been absolutely incredible as Badger. Fanatic says with the school Carrington with the school record. Both these guys have been awesome. I'll hit you this one, Mitch Ames. Am I nitpicking to say these guys still get beat by the ball down court on defense? What's your nitpick today, Rajeev?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is fair. I mean, we still have issues on our defensive side, on the defensive side of the floor for sure. I think overall our transition defense has been pretty good. I think that when we put in the effort on the defensive side of the floor, like you saw in the first half today, I think we can be pretty good. And I think you said it really well. The way that we were communicating on defense is really impressive today. And that's what I saw. You saw switches more so than I've seen in a while. Like, you really saw good switching, really good perimeter defense, really good post defense. I'm happy with that. I think this team, I guess this is my point. We are improving defensively. And I do think that it's not a strength of our team, but we can get stops. We can count on this team to get some stops in critical moments if the effort is there and if the key defenders are on the court. Guys like Winter's all right. Rapp has shown to be a pretty good defender. I thought Rhodey on ball defense today was really, really good. I think Rhodey gets a lot of crap. I like him more than most people, but I think I really like what he did today. So we've got good defenders as long as they play together as a group.
I think Washington helped today.
Yes.
Like in a way, they have some discombobulated offensive sets, man. Washington is a bad offensive team, or at least they were today. Claire, odd body language from JB. Any thoughts? I'll be honest. I try not to read body language too much, just because it can be really hard to interpret what somebody's putting out there. Body language is a real thing. A lot of what we say as human beings, we don't actually verbally say. It's eye contact, it's body language. That's a real thing for sure. But I think he's in a funk. I think I'm going back to what I said originally. I think he's just in a funk, and that funk is affecting everything. Like, I don't think he's a bad teammate. I don't. I never heard that from somebody. I think he's probably frustrated, kind of like we are, because he's expecting a certain level of play, and it's not there right now for whatever reason. Maybe there is something minor that he's nursing. I don't know. Like odd body language. Yes, I don't want to read too much into it though. The body language part is I guess where I'm at. Rajeev, alien space. Who replaces Boyd next year?
Oh, we're gonna need Greg Gard to pull another rabbit out of his hat and get somebody in the portal, because I don't know if there is anybody that can. Certainly not on this team now. Like, Kinzinger's going to play a bigger role next year. Jones going to play a bigger role next year. But yeah, we're going to have to go out and get someone in the portal. But he's proven that, right? Store to Tanjay to Boyd. We've gotten stars on this team, big point scoring stars. He'll do it again. Yeah,
I agree there. Honcho, good friend of the show, man. I love that dude. I hope Winter's ankle doesn't linger to tournament time. Here's where I hope. I'll go back and say yes to this 100%. They need to put him in a back to tank like Darth Vader and just let him heal. But I think this is where if they get into the Big Ten tournament, and I don't think Gard thinks like I do, which is totally fair. He probably shouldn't. He's a pretty successful basketball coach, and I'm a podcaster. He's probably fine. this is where I would hope that they would really monitor people who might have something lingering, though, because I don't think the Big Ten tournament matters. I don't care about it. I think most fans don't care about it. You care about regular season and March Madness. So if Winter is nursing something, and it sure seems like he kind of is, in the Big Ten tournament, I don't want to see him playing 30-plus minutes. I want them to be careful with it. I don't know if Gard thinks like that, but I hope he's healthy for March, fully healthy, because you need him. And Rajeev, I think you're on the same boat as I am in the Big Ten tournament itself. Not it's just, it doesn't matter that much.
It doesn't matter at all. It can matter in certain situations if you need a couple critical wins to push yourself off the bubble. We don't have to worry about that. We already got 12 wins in the Big Ten. We're clearly in the tournament. We can just control some seeding, but seeding doesn't usually happen in the conference tournament. So if you want to improve our seed, we need to beat Maryland, and we getting a win at Purdue with that's going to drastically improve our seed. We don't want to lose to Maryland, but we don't need to worry about the Big Ten tournament. You're right. If Winter's nursing any kind of injury, we've seen what happens when we have key players out in the tournament. We've seen that before. We cannot let that happen. Winter is way too important to this team.
Rajeev, big picture thoughts. Will Hannah, 2 wins away from a 6 seed.
Yeah, 2 wins, one of them being Purdue. I think maybe if we beat Purdue, we could get a little higher, but I still think 6 is as high as we get. Maryland has to be a win. I don't think we're going to play anyone major in the first time we play in the Big Ten tournament. So yeah, maybe I think we're on that 6-7 line right now. If we can play well against Purdue, if we get a win, definitely we're going to be a 6. If we can advance in the Big Ten tournament, maybe it can take you up from a 7 to 6, but we just need to not lose to Maryland. And at that point, everything's a free hit, because free hit totally at Purdue and the Big Ten tournament is kind of whatever, unless you have a bad loss, which shouldn't happen. We'll be fine. I think we're on that 6-7 line for sure.
Does the Maryland game worry you? Again, just given this team.
It doesn't, and I'll tell you why. Because we've taken a step back, but we usually take a couple steps forward. We're usually good for a couple games. We will have that. We'll probably have that crap. I'll take the crap game in the Big Ten tournament. That's fine. If we're going to have that big loss, because listen, teams like Minnesota who are starting to play really well, Oregon's playing better. Like there are going to be some tough outs in that tournament. Have the loss there. Beat Maryland. Do whatever you do at Purdue, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I agree with you. Steve says, Ryan, don't defend Blackwell. He's a poor attitude. He needs his minutes reduced. To me, and again, I speak for Rajeev on this one. We love any type of disagreements on these shows. I think disagreements are great for people in general. It forces you to kind of like defend your point, and it creates actual conversation. So I love that Steve disagrees with me here, and we'll always put those type of comments up. For me, it's not just defending Blackwell. It's looking at this roster and saying, I mean, if you had a really good version of Freete coming off the bench, or Kamari McGee from last year, if you had him on the team, or if Janicki was healthy, who could still give you defensive minutes. It's just not a team it's not an easy spot to reduce one of your best guards' minutes by 10. You're already putting a lot on Carrington. He's playing more minutes now than he really ever has in his career, I think. It's not as easy as just take 10 minutes off his. Well, who are you going to give it to? You got to be, those things matter. And I also think the longer term idea of this team, where Blackwell has to be a 30, 35-minute guy if it's going to make a deep run, I think that matters. And to me, that's probably what Greg Gard is weighing. If I need Blackwell to be engaged, which we do, maybe reducing some of those minutes isn't the best idea. And I could be wrong in that. Maybe Rajeev is right. Maybe that a message needs to be sent. But to me, it's not just about Blackwell. It's about the construction of the team and the longer-term vision of what they're trying to do here.
And I would add a little positive spin to that and say, like, if for some reason, if we do get Blackwell back at full force, imagine the firepower that this team has with a firing Blackwell and Boyd and BraEden Carrington and Winter, and Rapp, that's where you can, if Blackwell is playing at his peak, that's when you can see that deep run of the tournament. You cannot see it without John Blackwell. You can't, but you can if he can find a way to get out of this funk and do whatever he needs to do to step back up.
Patrick says Ryan is so anti-controversial. You guys don't even know. I got hate mail the last time I talked about Blackwell because people said I was too hard on him. So I had to do a follow-up show about why I was so hard on Blackwell. People tell me I'm too hard on people and too soft on people simultaneously. So I guess that means I'm probably in a decent spot. I'll take this one. Alien Space, Boyd is better than Hepburn. I agree. That's a point I've already made. I think Boyd gives you more offensively. Hepburn was an inconsistent shooter. I think at the end of his Badger tenure, Hepburn was an inconsistent, mediocre defender. I hate to say it. I would agree with this. I think Boyd is better than Hepburn. And that's not to say Hepburn wasn't a really good Badger for 3 years. He was. And you could argue certainly he gave more to the program because he was here 3 years than Boyd, who's only going to be here 1 year. but a better player. Boyd's a better player. Rajeev, I mean, what do you think?
100%. It's not close. Boyd is literally, it's only 1 year, but we're going to talk about Boyd in one of the better Badgers we've really ever seen. In the last 20 years, like how many guards have played as good as him? How many people have scored over 20 points? Like the stats speak for themselves.
Running with Jason. I like Ryan. He does a good job. Thanks, Jason. But way too nice of a guy. Screw you, Jason. No, I'm kidding. Heel turn, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm a product of my mom, probably. She is also too nice of a person in general. Will Hanna says, solve that hat problem. What's the? Oh, I thought it was another hat comment. It's not. All right, Rajeev. Any final thoughts here? I guess I didn't even hit a lot of our starred comments. Anything else in there, Mike or Rajeev, that you saw that we do need to be hitting on? I think this is a good one from L Mills. Yeah, let's hit on this one. Alien Space Elite 8 dark horse. Rajeev, I'll let you start with this one. I'll take a crack too.
Yeah, like this team has, I think it was said on the broadcast today, really, really well said. Very high ceiling, not as high of a floor. So we could be a dark horse for a Final Four, because if BraEden Carrington shoots like we did tonight and we get a better version of John Blackwell, who can't we beat? We've already proven we can beat Michigan, Illinois, Michigan State. We've beaten the best teams in the country. We've also lost to a bad Oregon team. So, I mean, that's what you don't know what we're going to get. We could be a dark horse for anything. It's all about what we end up with in the tournament.
Yeah, it's a good way to wrap that up. Elite 8 dark horse, sure. Lose in first round of March Madness dark horse, sure.
Yeah, yep.
So I don't think we're an Elite 8 dark horse. So if someone forces me to be on the spot, this team doesn't play good enough defense. They just don't defend well enough, consistently enough for me to call them an Elite 8 dark horse. I think it would be an Elite 8 Hail Mary. I think it would be a miracle if they made it the Elite 8, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think they get enough stops, and you need to do that in March against teams that can play offense and defense. I'm fine with the offense. I don't think the defense is Elite 8 worthy.
Here's my counterpoint to that.
Okay.
Coming into the season, and everything you just said is not, it's factual. But if I said, can this team get wins at Michigan, at Illinois, home against Michigan State with that defense? Your answer would probably be they're not elite enough to get all those victories.
That's fair. That's a fair point. I certainly didn't think they were going to beat Michigan on the road, but ultimately to get into the Elite 8, you got to string together in a row a series of consistent performances that I don't think this team has proven they can do.
That's fair.
But nobody would be happier to be wrong. Nobody in the world on planet Earth of the 7 billion people randomly bouncing around on this third rock from the sun would be happier to be wrong about it. I'll podcast for 7 hours if we make the Elite 8 straight. I'll have a pot of coffee next to me. It'd be the greatest thing ever. I do want to throw this up here because anytime we get somebody commenting for the first time, Kristen says, first time YouTube, long time listener. First of all, appreciate you, Kristen. Thank you. She says Blackwell will leave at the end of the year. I've heard this as well, and I don't want to. I just think eventually, and I don't think there's anything wrong about it. I think eventually people may want to move on, and I think that's true in life. It's true in a lot of professions, and I don't know. We'll see. He's a really good player, and I think the Badgers are better when he's on the roster. So, but we saw Chucky Hepburn leave. Rajeev, he had a Badgers tattoo, for gosh sake. He was here for 3 years. Nothing in the portal surprises me anymore.
This is the age that we live in now. It's not going to surprise me if he leaves. I don't want him to leave. I want him to stay just because, I hope he doesn't have this funk, but Winter, I want Winter to stay, obviously. We could lose anybody. We could get anybody. It's just a totally different world of sports right now. And we just don't know what we're going to get. So yeah, very possible though, that he could leave. Let's
finish on this comment. And then Rajeev, anything else that you want to hit on? L Mills, are we overestimating JB's ceiling? Are we asking too much? And I think there are times where we get a picture of a player in our head and maybe they're never that player and we keep knocking him for not being a version. I think this is true with Steven Crowell, for example. I think people kept wanting him to dunk more and do more of this. He was never going to be that player, but because he didn't fit that image in people's heads, they constantly kind of overlooked the things he did. Maybe it's not the best example, but that's the first one that popped in my head. Rajeev, are we just maybe being unfair with estimate, ceiling talk here for JB?
I don't think we are, because we've seen a different JB the last 2 seasons. You could argue that, okay, maybe he wasn't getting the best defender. He wasn't getting the focus of the defense. But when was the last time you saw JB drive by a guy and get to the basket, cleanly? He did that his freshman and sophomore year. He did that. We've saw it. You go watch film. He did it. He's not doing it now. Something's different. Something's off. Maybe he's not working hard enough to get there. The mentality of those moments isn't there. But I think the ceiling is there because we have seen it. And there's no reason to think that a player should have regressed this much.
Yeah, not much to add there. I agree. I think there's a better version of him under the hood that for whatever reason, we're just not fully seeing right now. So I would agree with that. Rajeev, let's wrap this up. We're at 45 minutes. Again, I always appreciate everybody tuning in, everybody checking this out. Any last thoughts before we wrap this up, Rajeev?
Yeah, just quick couple big picture things. 5 straight 21 seasons. That's very, very nice. Like really, really good. Mm-hmm. I mean, we talk about high floor. You know how I feel about this. I love having high floor programs because it gives you something to be excited about when it comes to tournament time. We don't have that in football right now, and that's driving us crazy. And this is why, you have guys like Greg Gard and people can have their opinions on Greg Gard, but he produces a high floor team. I'm all about it. So I'm happy about that. The energy that we showed tonight and how locked in we were is exactly what we did not do against Oregon. This has to be like, we're coming down to crunch time now. We got 2 more Big Ten games, a weird tournament, and then the big dance. You've got to be locked in now. The energy has to be there. I don't care who you're playing, even against Maryland. Get locked in, because when this team plays locked in, we've proven we can beat anybody. I just don't want to see any more steps back. We've had a long season, 20 wins. You've had your steps back. Enough is enough. Lock in and play with the energy we saw today, because we will be victorious in March if we do that.
Hell yeah, Rajeev. Hell yeah. I love it. I would just say, to wrap it up, and I'm not going to add on to that because that's really well said about the energy and the consistency. I would just say sports are supposed to be fun, right? And at times we get so focused on, is it going to be a successful season because of what they do in March? I'm just going to enjoy today's BraEden Carrington moment. It was a ton of effing fun. And that's what sports are, right? There are moments where, like 15 years from now, when I'm sitting around a campfire on the beach, I'm probably, this game will spring in my head. I'm like, you remember that time Carrington dropped 9 threes on Washington? How much fun was that? Like, this was a fun moment. This is generally a really fun team to enjoy. And I think today was just a fun game. It was the bounce back we wanted. Carrington looks incredible. This team, when they're clicking, to Rajeev's point, it's a ton of fun to watch. There was a lot of Bo Ryan teams that were probably better than this team, but if we're being honest, not always the most aesthetically pleasing product on the court. This is a lot of fun to watch as a fan. I enjoyed it. Good win today. As I said, there's only one UW in the Big Ten. There's only one UW. There's only one Wisconsin. And they took care of business today. Thanks for tuning in. Go check out Rajeev and Justin, as always, on the Bucket Report. Appreciate everybody here. Mike behind the mic, managing comments for over 200 people. Incredible guy, as always. When you're done here, go, please, if you're interested in the Everyday program that's in the show notes, you can click on that. Like the show, subscribe, do all those things that do help the channel out that we don't talk about much because we do want to build this organically, but those things do help. On Wisconsin, Brian says, thanks, fellas. Brian, thank you for being here. Appreciate you, brother. On Wisconsin, and we will definitely talk tomorrow.